PS2ManyGames.
Welcome back to another episode of PS2ManyGames. This is my second top 10. I'm gonna try and make this like once a month because I don't want to get the same repetitive go shop and hate the fine stuff concept. Even though that's by far the most popular thing I do on the channel. But I also want to get my opinions across. So once again, this is just my opinion. This is not fact. This top 10 PS2 launch titles. Between North America, Japan and Europe, there's roughly about 25 to 27 launch titles by the time us Europeans got the PS2. A lot of them have not aged very well. As you can imagine, being a launch title, they're not going to be fantastic, but some of them are still reasonably decent to play. Anyway, I've actually gone through 25 or 27. Two of them are American kind of exclusives, which I can't really get. I've been playing a bit on and off for the last 2 weeks, and I've got a list here of what I enjoy. Some of it shocked me. I thought one of them would be number one, but actually hasn't even made the list, and we'll go into that a little later. But anyway, this is top 10 launch PS2 games. Rules are simple. Once again, this is my opinion, it's not facts. I'll happily have a conversation in the chat with someone about their opinions, but let's not throw insults around, shall we? Number 2, these games had to be day one launch with the European PS2. In other words, they had to be on the shelf in Europe when the PS2 launched, which is, I think, November 2000. Do you remember? There's no other real rules. There's no one per franchise, because there isn't one per franchise. I will go through some games why I didn't make the list, because there are some choices I made over other choices. But anyway, let's get started. Yeah, so number 10 is Ready to Rumble Round 2. This has not aged well, but it still makes the list because it's better than other games that were launched. It's a decent box, obviously made by Midway. Obviously this is the second one, the first one being on the Dreamcast. It still plays decently well. Some weird bonuses. By far the best part of it is the boxes they come up with, the new characters, if you will. There's some strange boxes. Also unlockable boxes Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and Michael Jackson. Yes. Why Michael Jackson, who probably never threw a punch in his life, would be involved in a boxing game, I have no idea, but they must have paid him a lot of money. Interesting side note. So, obviously this game was named Ready to Rumble Boxing, and to make it genuine, they got Michael Buffer, the announcer for boxing, who says the words "Let's get ready to." I'm not gonna say the last word. I'll explain in a second why not. Anyway, they paid him an exorbitant amount of money. We're talking a lot of millions. We're talking I think it was ridiculous. I could be utterly wrong. If I'm wrong, just please tell me. I think it was like over 100 million. Something really, really stupid for the franchise. So they paid in one go so they can keep making these games, right? But it was such a ludicrous sum that they would have to sell a lot of these games just to make it back. It's something really stupid. Side note into a side note. Michael Buffer, not a very nice guy. Legit, if you use his phrase without his permission, he will sue you. He'll sue anyone. I'm not even joking. The real small guys, he'll try and sue him. Hence why I've not said his full catchphrase, because he likes to sue a person. Yeah, obviously you'll never find this video, but so he would honestly genuinely sue. Anyway, back to the game. Decent play. Has not aged very well, but it made the list because it was just so much better than the other games on this list. We'll go through some of those games later on, honorable mentions. Moving on. So number 9 is Evergrace. For those of you who remember, I literally bought this 2 weeks ago at ORL, the gaming convention. I have played a bit of it, and actually it's not bad, but it's not great. If you've ever played the game Secret of Mana, which is a SNES game, Super Nintendo game, which is ridiculously expensive, but a very good game. You ever played that? This is a version of that is just not as good. By that I mean it's not the same game, but kind of same style of game. but it just not play as well. Does not play as well. It held my attention for a little while. It was all right, but it's not a game I would go back to anytime soon. It's a game that I would like if I play multiple other RPGs. This would not be on the top of that list. It would be like not even top 10. But it does hold up. I believe this was made by From Software. And I think the company From Software made like 3 launch titles, and this one was the best one. Ubisoft, I think, in Europe, but I think I could be, if I'm wrong. But Ubisoft made the European version, but I think From Software made the American version. Once again, I could be totally wrong. But yeah, this holds up decently, but not great. That's a phrase you can hear a lot because the majority of these launch title games have not aged well. But obviously, when you buy them when you launch, you don't know what it's going to be like. But few of them have. We'll get to them later. But anyway, Evergrace, give it a go. Give it a go. You might like it, you might not. If you like Secret of Mana, you might like this. But for me personally, not a game I'm going to finish, put it that way. But it's still by far the 9th best game launched for the PS2. Moving on. Number 8, Street Fighter EX3. A lot of people have some misconceptions about this game. A lot of people think by just looking at the cover it's a 3D game. Technically yes, but technically no. It's a 3D models, but you're still 2D fighting, like old-fashioned Street Fighter. So think of this as a Street Fighter 4, just not as good at all. Once again, I think I mentioned this in one of the episodes 2 weeks ago. It's a decent fighter, but it's not one I'll go back to compared to some of the other PS2 fighters in the list on the game. There was 2 other PS2 fighters that launched with the console. One of them made it later on the list, one of them did not. We'll get into that later. But this one actually kind of holds up reasonably well. Does it really make my top 10 fighter list though? The PS2? I'm an iron about that because there's a lot of fighter games on the PS2. Anyway, yeah, I would play this occasionally. It's not one of those games where I avoid at all costs. It holds up well. Does it actually play well? I'm gonna go for a yes. I think the controls handle well. Can I get my actual fighting? I forgot. Jesus Christ, my brain just died. Can I actually get my actual peripheral fighting joystick pad? Yeah, I think I could. Actually, I think I would try that on this, but you never know. Anyway, long story short, Street Fighter EX3 kind of actually still holds up a little. Is it the best Street Fighter game on a PS2? No, that's probably Street Fighter Alpha Anthology. The fact that an anthology game is the best Street Fighter game on the PS2 speaks wonders. They really... Okay, oh, actually... No. So, side note for any American viewers, you got Street Fighter 3 Third Strike on the PS2 in America. We didn't get that. Europe didn't get that. Quite possibly the best Street Fighter game ever made. I'm going to still say that. And Europe didn't get that. Oh, damn you, Capcom. Yeah, so this is the best we got, pretty much. Original, if you know what I mean. Best original Street Fighter game we got, so that's number 8. Anyway, moving on. So we move on to number 7, and we're now starting to get that round where the games are half decent and playable. Number 7 is Armored Core 2. Interesting note, you still pay at least £10 for this game these days. And a lot of the Armored Core games are quite expensive. For instance, Armored Core 3, which you know I've already got, that cost me 65 quid. That's one of my most expensive games I own. I have no idea why, but I'm going to assume it's more rare than number 2. But anyway, back to number 2. So you're in a mech, you're basically in a mech. Very Japanesey, if you know what I mean. No, actually, very Japanese oriented. We'll go with that one. Basically, you're in a mech and you're fighting them. You're kind of fighting on Mars. Yeah. To be honest, once again, I watched Gundam when I was younger, Japanese anime. The Japanese obsession with mechanized combat fascinates me to the point where I actually did consider building a giant mechanized warrior. Real life Japan, like a long time ago. This has aged decently well. Play holds up compared to the other one, because there was 2 like mechanized gun games. No, the other one was Gun Griffin Blaze. Gun Griffin Blaze. I didn't make the list. The simple reason because I think this one plays better, and that one's a bit Yeah. Also, how many Gun Griffin Blaze games were there? How many Armored Core games were there? But there you go. So many Armored Core games. The reason it held up. Is this a game I would play constantly? Once again, the answer is no. Is it? But I like the perks. I like the fact it's so customizable. You can customize, make like the ultimate mech, killing and destroying. To be honest, side note, I nearly put Dynasty Warriors 2 on this list. Now, anyone's played it before, that game's aged really badly. The only reason I nearly put that on the list because it kind of basically started the Koei like hack and slash genre, where they basically made like 40 to 50 more games where they're just hacking and slashing. Why do I mention this? Because obviously they made basically a Gundam version of the Warriors franchise, which both games are pretty good, but obviously not. They're probably my favourite like mechanized games. This made the list for it played decently, customizability, and a bit of nostalgia really. I did actually have this when it launched, because when you see a giant mech suit, you're like, I'm in. But once again, would I go back to the play this again constantly? No. Interesting note, another game made by Ubisoft. Ubisoft were fully in for the PS2 launch. Anyway, moving on. Game number 6 is probably a bit controversial for many reasons, but we're going with Tekken Tag Tournament. Platinum version, as you can see. Right. Out of all the Tekken games on the PS2, this one's by far the worst. But at the same time, it's still a Tekken game, so it still plays very well. The combos still work fantastically. Tag system is fairly decent, and it works fine. But there's so many things I don't like about this game also. For instance, anyone's played this game, when you're fighting one-on-one, the background, they're two different backgrounds. And the background's there, but the people, so you can literally see the ground moving in like jagged. It's so disorientating. Hopefully Dave can find that, because it's so weird. It's really goddamn weird. Did we need a launch Tekken game? Probably not. Remember, this is the game after Tekken 3. Obviously, this is the game after Tekken 3. Tekken 3 obviously was the best-selling game on the PS1, and by far the best Tekken game ever made. Fight me. It plays well though. That's why it's so high on the list. To be honest, if it didn't play well, this would not have made the list. This would have not made the list. And side note, this is not making the top 10 PS2 games fighting list. No, it's not, because there's so many better versions of Tekken on PS2. And everyone knows I've got a bit of affinity for fighting games. But once again, because there's not many great PS2 launch games. See, I'm trying to justify this, but in my own heart, I hate this game. I hate this game for how it looks, but I love this game for how it plays. So I compromised. Number 6. Tekken 5 is by far the best PS2 Tekken, and probably coming very close to taking over Marvel vs. Capcom for me. So you'll find out on the fighting list, which has taken me over a month to make my decision on, because I can't make a decision. Anyway, moving on. Number 6, Tekken Tag Tournament. It's alright, but it's nothing special. Number 5, and back-to-back Namco games, Ridge Racer! Sometimes I'm really lame. By far the best driving game from the opening titles. Better than Midnight Club. I did think about Midnight Club, but Midnight Club has not aged very well. And if you play it and watch it, it's pretty much a demo for the driving in GTA 3. Go back and play that game and tell me that's not like a demo for GTA 3 driving sessions, because it pretty much is. Ridge Racer shockingly holds up pretty well, and it's actually quite a good game to play. I will go back to play this. Another side note, obviously the original Ridge Racer was a PS1 launch title, and now this one's a PS2 launch title, so obviously that was premeditated. But it looks decent, it handles decent, and actually it's genuinely a fun game to play. And this is probably the first game on this list that I would actually go back to play. There's like hundreds of driving games on the PS2. Obviously the Need for Speed franchise is beloved. But for the launch titles, this is by far the best version, and the game I actually would recommend, Ridge Racer 5. What I don't understand is that this actually, I'm going to assume this sold really well because this is actually not that expensive to find. And first game on this list I actually recommend you buying, Ridge Racer 5. At number 5. What are the odds? Moving on. Number 4, and the best fighting game on the out the launch titles, Dead or Alive 2. Dead or Alive 2 actually has aged shockingly well. Go back and play as a game and you'll see that the graphics actually look very good still. The fighting style holds up very well, and it can be argued that their tag system is better than Tekken's tag system. This game beats Tekken Tag Tournament hands down across the board. Obviously, Dead or Alive is pretty much famous for the jiggle physics. And obviously, America got some interesting games out of that, but as a fighting game, it holds up shockingly well. And this probably is going to make the top 10 fighting list. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but it's going to make it because I've forgotten how well this plays. A game I would happily go back and play again, like a fighting mini series, if you will. To be fair, when I started doing this list and started playing games again, I didn't. How can I put this? I hadn't played Dead or Alive 2 for a long time, and I naturally assumed it wasn't going to be that good. Then I played it, and it's like, okay, this looks quite good. Then I played it, it's like, okay, this handles very well. It's like, okay, this is really good. So obviously, we're over 2,000 PS2 games. Sometimes you forget some games are better than others. This was the sleeper on my list. I forgot how good this game was, and that's why it's so high. Number 4, I would recommend anyone who hasn't played it before play it. I don't know if it's the best DOA. I can't say that because I haven't played all of them. But it's the best one I ever played, and I highly recommend it. Number 4, Dead or Alive 2. Moving on. Number 3, and by far the best RPG launch title, Orphan: Scorn of Sorcery. This game has aged very well, and so has the cutscenes. Obviously, with the launch of the PS2, it was capable of doing so much more. Obviously, PS1 cutscenes, they were pretty decent. Obviously, anyone wants to go watch Mega Man 8 cutscenes, they're amazing. Anyway, side note, but this RPG plays well, decent story, and the cutscenes are fully dubbed. The acting is not horrific. And it's a game I've been playing for the last 2 weeks and I'm actually enjoying the hell out of. Made by Activision. Yeah, Activision. You didn't see that coming. It's aged shockingly well, and I would argue this is one of the better RPGs on the PS2 still. Obviously, it's not the best one. It'll probably make a top 10, I can't make sure, but it's like... I'm not going to spoil the story because people say, well, tell us what the story's about. I'm not going to spoil any of that. You've got to play it for yourself. You really have to. But obviously, fighting games don't have a story. Racing games don't really have a story. But RPGs have, obviously, the story's super important. So I'm not going to ruin it for people because... And I know people are saying, but Adam, it's literally a 23-year-old game. Just tell me what's happening. And it's like, no, you've got to play it yourself. I ain't telling you nothing. You know, like the Wild Arms franchise. When you look at Wild Arms, you're just like, yeah, that's a Japanese-oriented game. Yeah, this is very much a Japanese-oriented game. When you got the male protagonist with black spiky hair and a red bandana. Phew! Oh god, I embarrass myself sometimes. Yeah, but I'm not gonna tell you anyway. Just play it. It's an awesome game. Orphan: Scorn of Sorcery, number 3. Number 2, Time Splitters. Now, anyone who remembers from my top 10 PS2 franchises, Time Splitters nearly made that because it was originally, and this game is, a PS2 exclusive. Obviously, the sequels were on multiple consoles, but this one was a PS2 exclusive. And this one, still to this day, plays shockingly well. Why is it called Time Splitters? Basically, there's time traveling, and the evil people are called Time Splitters. That's what. So obviously, this is a first-person action, action shooter. You're think Call of Duty. I'm joking. I'm seriously joking, by the way. It's nothing like Call of Duty. It's a shooting game. Obviously, one-player shooting game with story. You can do co-op. I think it's got ridiculous, something like 50 different characters and weapons to choose from. Something super ridiculous. for the time, obviously it's 2000, so that was quite good for 2000 time. Obviously the story was pretty good, but obviously the multiplayer was where it was left. To use a kid's phrase from like 20 years ago, it's where it's at.
How do you do, fellow kids? What?
That's when multiplayer was made. I think this was made by the same people who made GoldenEye. I could be wrong about that. I could be wrong totally. But the multiplayer aspect is by far the best part of this game. I mean, play it with 4 people in the same room. I know, strange concept. Remember, internet in 2000. It was there, but it was not easy to use. We were still using dial-up, for God's sake. AOL. Oh, that aged me so hard, that did. Obviously, the sequels probably were better. Obviously, my favourite character, Gingerbread Man. A gingerbread man with a gun. Okay, I'm sold. But yeah, will I go back for the story of this? Probably not. Will I go back to multiplayer? Yes. If I get 4 people in the same room, which probably is nigh on impossible these days because everyone's got things to do. Everyone's in a rush in their lives. 2023, such a chaotic time to be a human. I would happily play this game again, like multiplayer. You know, like those games that you had to play like in the same room, like Mario Party, for instance. Complete sideswipe. You ever play Mario Party in the same room with 4 people? It ends friendships. That's the most aggressive multiplayer game I've ever played in my life. Like with Mario Kart, obviously. It really is. And Smash. Go Smash. Nintendo. To be fair, Nintendo still own the multiplayer games for like family friendly. But this still holds up. Number 2, Time Splitters. You got to play this game. It's amazing. The multiplayer.
Honorable mention.
Before I announce number 1, we're going to go through some honorable mentions, if you will. Silent Scope. Not a great game. Has not aged very well. Wasn't even close to making the list.
Honorable mention.
Smuggler's Run. Some people enjoy this game. Good for you. I don't like it.
Honorable mention.
Kessin. Would you like to learn about Japanese medieval history of the 16th century? Yes? Would you like to have you play a very slow version of it where it just tells you the history where you're barely clicking anything? No? Well, screw you, that's all you're doing. You're playing Kessin. Yeah, Kessin is not aged well at all. Samurai War is by far a much better depiction of the I can't pronounce it. Sengoku period of Japan. If I'm wrong, I humbly apologise. I really do.
Honorable mention.
I mean, all the other racing games, MotoGP. I mean, it looks alright, but obviously it's a 23-year-old game.
Honorable mention.
Wild Racing.
Honorable mention.
ESPN Track and Field. I did try it. You know what? It's aged really badly.
Honorable mention.
Eternal Ring. Really aged badly.
Honorable mention.
If you look at these games, I humbly apologise. But the last honourable mention is actually kind of intriguing because it's the only game actually made by Sony. Fantavision. So the only game Sony made for the launch was a puzzle game. Okay? They couldn't think of anything better to choose, or I don't know if it's some kind of delays. Maybe, I don't know, Jack and Daxter got delayed, maybe. I don't know. I could be utterly wrong. So anyway, any honourable mentions, move on to number 1. So number 1 may shock a lot of people, but generally speaking, when I went through all 27 of these games that I could actually go through, this one was the one I enjoyed the most. I never expected this to be true.
Oh my god, the suspense is killing me.
SSX. Yes, I have chosen a snowboarding game as the best PS2 launch title. When I chose this, I asked 3 of my friends. I texted them, and I said, "Is it a bad choice?" And they go, "Actually, no. It's the right choice." Apparently, I'm not the only one. Apparently, this is genuinely considered one of the best or the best launch title game for the PS2, which shocked me, to be honest, because I was like, "This is just a generic snowboarding game." And I did play some of these on the PS1. I don't know if it was SSX, something like that. But I played this, and not only does it play ridiculously well, but it's ridiculously enjoyable. So for the concept of anyone, you're basically a snowboarder, you're going downhill, you're doing the tricks, you're doing the moves. Think Tony Hawk's, but with snowboards. You got it. And it's aged shockingly well. I can't emphasize enough how much this, I really was, how can I put this? When I chose number 1, I was arguing with myself because like other games here should be number 1, but this is my list. This is my list. So yeah, made by EA. Yes, Electronic Arts made the best PS2 launch title. Oh, I'm gonna get some serious. Yeah. Oh my god. And just to put it in context, I paid a sizzling £1 for this. God. I can't help it. This is by far the best PS2 launch title for me. It really is. It plays well. It looks well. It holds up well. And out of all the games I played for, I gave each game a good 2 hours, by the way. I mean, I've been preparing this for like 2 or 3 weeks. This is the one I enjoyed the goddamn most. And I didn't expect this. I thought it was going to be something like Tekken when I started this whole list, because like, Affinity for Tekken, but it's like, no, hell no. I've got it. This, doing the research and playing the games for this has opened my eyes to some of these games, and by far SSX is one of the most underrated PS2 games ever made. Dear God. Anyway, that's my opinion. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. There will be the occasional like popcorn episodes, I will call these, where these are not obviously part of the main line of game collecting. These are side episodes. I do enjoy doing these. I'm only going to do this like top 10 maybe once a month at maximum, because top 10s are very generic and I don't want to get too goddamn generic. We're only like into our 3rd or / 4th month by now, so I want to keep this different. Anyway, thank you for watching. Once again, please like, comment, subscribe. I do reply to all comments, I really do. For those who are new to the channel, this is your first episode, welcome. If you like us, please subscribe. If you don't, that's totally fair. Have a good rest of your day, or whatever the hell you're doing. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.